The littlest duck was born with fluffy feathers and big dreams. He dreamed of paddling with his paddling mates, diving for tasty treats and swimming alongside his mom and dad. But when it was time for him to take his first ever swim, he realized that being the littlest duck came with some big challenges. Will the littlest duck learn to swim? Let's follow this little duckling named Pip on his very first day at swimming school. As Pip waddled toward the pond with his paddling pool pals, he couldn't help but feel a little nervous. They had been practicing swimming for days, but today was his first time. When Pip got closer to the pond, he could hear his mom and dad quacking happily from inside the water. "It's so fun splashing around in here," they were saying. "Isn't it wonderful to be a duck?" Pip took a deep breath and tried to act brave. After all, being a fearless swimmer was in his blood. His mom was the fastest duck in the whole pond, and his dad could dive for fish faster than anyone else. And yet, despite his best efforts to look confident, Pip couldn't shake those butterflies in his stomach. As he dipped his little webbed feet into the shallow water, he felt a sudden urge to run away. When he looked back at his friends, though, he saw that they were already paddling further out into the pond. So taking another deep breath, Pip forced himself to go after them. Now that he was in the water, Pip could see why his friends loved swimming so much. Tiny bubbles tickled his belly, colorful dragonflies zoomed past his head, and cool water rushed between his toes. But then a big wave rocked the boat, or rather, the pond. Suddenly, Pip was knocked over and sucked under the surface, struggling to get back up. He flapped his wings frantically, only to get himself even more tangled. Water filled his nose and made him sneeze violently. "This isn't very fun," he sputtered as he finally got himself upright. Now soaked and shivering, he watched as his friends paddled happily around the pond, giggling and splashing. Pip knew that he should join them, that swimming was what ducks did, just like flying was what birds did and running was what foxes did. It was in his nature, and yet he couldn't help but feel different. "What's wrong with me?" he wondered. "Why can't I swim like everyone else?" To Pip's surprise, no one answered right away. Instead, there was a moment of silence. Then, as if on cue, the entire pond erupted in giggles. Poor Pip felt his face grow hot with embarrassment. Was he really that bad at swimming? Pip's mom and dad quickly swam over to him. "Are you all right, Pip?" his mom asked. She could tell by his tearful eyes that something was wrong. I don't know how to swim," Pip admitted. "Everyone's laughing at me." His dad wrapped Pip in a big hug. "Don't worry, son," he said. "We're all bad at swimming at first. Even your mom needed some time to learn." Encouraged by his dad's kind words, Pip decided to give swimming another try. He started by wading into the water, then slowly began to move his feet from side to side. For a moment, he actually felt like he was starting to get the hang of it. But then he lost his balance and fell flat on his face. A nearby frog blinked at him from atop a lily pad and croaked loudly. "Ribbit! Ribbit!" Unable to hold back his tears any longer, Pip turned and ran as fast as he could away from the pond. He hid behind a bush and felt miserable. Maybe he really wasn't cut out to be a duck. Maybe he'd be happier as a chicken who scratched in the dirt or a goose who marched on land. The thought of never swimming with his family again made Pip feel completely alone. Suddenly, he heard footsteps behind him. Pip squeezed his eyes shut and tried to shrink down as small as he could. When he didn't hear anyone say a word, though, he slowly opened his eyes and turned around to see who was there. It was his big sister, Dot. Dot tilted her head and stared at him curiously. "What's wrong, Pip?" she asked. "You're not in the pond with the others." Taking a deep breath, Pip told her how he wished he could swim without falling over. "Oh, I bet I can teach you," Dot said with a wink. Without giving Pip time to respond, she turned and walked over to the edge of the pond. "Okay, follow my lead," she instructed. And so Dot showed Pip how to paddle with his feet and move his body from side to side. At first, he kept losing his balance, just like before. But then, remembering his dad's kind words, he tried to relax and enjoy the sensation of the water rushing over his back. And just like that, Pip was floating. For a few glorious seconds, he just floated. Then he remembered Dot's words and began to paddle with his feet. Slowly but surely, he began to glide across the surface of the water. Over the next few days, Pip practiced his swimming every chance he got. Sometimes he would float with his family, and sometimes he would race his siblings around the pond. Best of all, he discovered that he liked the feeling of being in the water. The more he swam, the stronger he became, and the stronger he became, the more he enjoyed swimming. On one particularly sunny afternoon, Pip and his friend Ferdinand decided to put their skills to the test. "Let's see who can swim the fastest from here to the old oak tree," Ferdinand suggested, pointing to a shady tree on the other side of the pond. "You're on," Pip replied. And without wasting another moment, they were off. Ferdinand took the lead, paddling furiously with his feet and flapping his wings to keep himself upright. Pip followed closely behind, determined to win. But then Ferdinand suddenly veered off course. Instead of continuing toward the oak tree, he started swimming in circles around a patch of lily pads. "Ferdinand, what are you doing?" Pip called out, surprised by his friend's sudden change of plans. I don't know," Ferdinand stammered. I just don't want to swim anymore." Upon hearing this, Pip stopped and waddled over to his friend. "Why not? Don't you love swimming?" he asked. "I used to," Ferdinand replied. "But now my legs feel tired and my wings feel heavy. Being good at swimming isn't as fun as I thought it would be." At first, Pip didn't know what to say. He had been looking forward to beating Ferdinand in the swimming race, but seeing how sad his friend was, he forgot all about winning. "Maybe we don't have to be the best swimmers in the pond to be happy," he said thoughtfully. "Maybe we just need to swim because we love it, not because we want to be better than everyone else." When Ferdinand heard this, a big smile spread across his face. "Thanks, Pip," he whispered. "That makes me feel so much better." And so Ferdinand and Pip spent the rest of the afternoon swimming and playing in the shallow water, content to be good at swimming, not great at swimming. From that day on, Pip never worried about being the littlest duck. In fact, he was proud to be the littlest duck. After all, it meant that he had overcome the biggest challenge of all, learning to swim. And as Pip continued to grow, his swimming skills improved too. Before long, he was paddling, diving and swimming alongside his mom and dad. Every time Pip hit the water, he was reminded of two important things. One, swimming wasn't as scary as it seemed. And two, no matter how small you are, you can always achieve your goals if you try hard enough.